Brighton have managed to do the double over Arsenal this season, and what a spicy encounter it was. Mark Ogden is still here with me for this one. Augie, Arsenal's week to forget continues. 0 points from their first two Premier League fixtures back after the break. But let's just talk about that main incident that happened that sent Bernd Leno off, of course, with that horrendous injury. Definitely not pretty scenes there, but everyone sort of went after Neal Maupay, and it's kind of split everyone. Some saying that, look, he's your striker and that's kind of what you want to see from him, you know, that kind of aggression going forward, and no way was it his fault because he couldn't have controlled how Leno felt. What do you think?
Well, you say aggression, but it wasn't even aggressive. It was just he shoved him a bit. It was you know, it's just almost kind of like a centre forward letting a goalkeeper know he's there. Now, obviously, it was really unfortunate what happened to Leno. When nobody wants to see an injury like that, it was terrible. But it was a vicious challenge. It wasn't one what you'd say is a straight red card tackle. It was an unfortunate incident where Leno landed awkwardly and then suffered the injury. Now, obviously, it all started when Leno was on his stretcher, pointing his finger at Maupay. You know, maybe understandable because he's injured, but I don't think Maupay could be accused of going out to injury. It was a shove. And what happened at the end of the game when the Arsenal players started to, you know, get into Maupay and push him around, well, that was just ridiculous. You know, if they'd shown that kind of aggression and effort during the game, Arsenal might have won the game rather than lost it.
Well, you know, Neal Maupay's come out after in his flash interview just directly after the match. He did say that he went to apologise to Mikel Arteta. Some saying he probably didn't need to apologise, but of course it was a horrific injury to Bernd Leno. But he actually had a pretty spicy quote admitting that the Arsenal players were coming after him, and he said that they need to learn humility and that Arsenal got what they deserve. What do you think of those comments?
You know, I like those comments. I like it when players come out and you know, speak from the heart and say what they really think, because I think he does have a point. I think, you know, Arsenal went 1-0 up, and I think they kind of were fortunate to be 1-0 up. I don't think it was a particularly great performance by Arsenal. I thought it was one of those days where Arsenal, once again, too many players were coasting along, too many players thinking that they might not be there next season, they don't want to be there next season. I wasn't that impressed, and they take the lead through a fantastic Nicola Pepe goal, and you know they're going to win the game maybe. But Brighton fought back. Brighton needed the points, and you know, maybe Arsenal need to learn some humility and realise that teams like Brighton are fighting for points. And for me, Brighton deserved the win. And it was a great goal by Maupay, which probably rubs salt into Arsenal's wounds that he scores the goal that decides the game. But I don't think Maupay has anything to apologise for. It was just an unfortunate incident where Leno gets injured. But, you know, that was it. You know, that was just one of those things that happens. He wasn't being overly aggressive.
Well, let's talk about Arsenal now there, because a good friend of ours, Paul Mariner, you know, he's definitely an Arsenal man through and through. He was absolutely furious during this game and saying it's that coasting attitude that he saw from the game against City now here. So where do Arsenal go from here? Because it's looking like a hot mess.
It is a mess. You know, Mikel Arteta's got a really big job on his hands at Arsenal because he has to, you know, get rid of a lot of players and he has to bring players in. And he's admitted that, you know, they don't have a lot of money to do it. And the biggest problem of the lot is that, you know, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is probably the one player that Arsenal have got you would consider to be anywhere near to world class. And, you know, he's got 1 year left in his contract, and I think he'd probably leave because Arsenal know that if they keep him for a year, they're losing for nothing. But if they lose him now, how on earth are they going to replace his goals? You know, 20 plus goals a season, because, you know, without him, Alex Lacazette is nowhere near as good a striker as he is with Aubameyang. So the linchpin, you know, the kingpin in all this is Aubameyang, and he's just, if he leaves, Arsenal will be like a pack of cards. I just don't see how they can improve without him.
So Arsenal problems continue. Let's touch on Brighton then before we wrap things up. And, you know, there was talks of battle for survival, but if Brighton still continue to do these things, and I don't suppose it's going to be a question for anyone. However, their next run of games are they could not have asked for a more difficult run. They have to play in no particular order: Leicester, United, Liverpool and Man City. So what do you think there, Augie?
Well, I think that's why it was so crucial that Arsenal were beaten at Brighton today. I think they've got a 5-point cushion now and 32 points. I think if Brighton get 38, 39 points, it'll make them safe. So they look at those next games coming up, and I think, you know, anything they get from those games will be a bonus. But beyond that, they do have games against teams that are struggling as well. So I think they have to focus on the games against their fellow strugglers, look to beat them, end up with 38, 39 points, and they'll be okay. But I think when the season finishes, if they stay up, today will be a massive part of that. You know, they scored a last-minute injury time winner, which makes it's a 2-point difference to what it would have had. And those 2 points for me will keep Brighton up. So today's been a huge win for Brighton.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.